Alright, so we're going to be testing the Radeon Super Resolution in Hunt Showdown. So there is a trick to getting this to work properly, at least. So the HyperRX, this is the profile here. So first off, Radeon Boost, it's not available in Hunt as far as I know. It's not in the profile for it, so I can just turn that off regularly. This is my global profile, so I'll just have it off. And anti-lag plus, this isn't available. It's only for supported games. Anti-lag will work. And then you have the super resolution itself. I'm going to turn that off on the global profile, but we'll head over to Hunt here. So I have Hunt right here, but you can find it. You should be able to find it through gaming, and then it'll be in this list and you can find it in here. But I'm just going to go back here, just game graphics, and then from here you can adjust your Radeon Super Resolution. So you can set it to HyperRX and you can see that the boost is nowhere to be seen. We can come down here, it's not here, so we can just go back to default or HyperRX, doesn't matter, but anti-lag is active. And Radeon Super Resolution, it works like this if you want to use it for full screen. If you want borderless full screen, I'll show you how you can get that to work here. Alright, now that we're in the Hunt menu, first thing you're going to need to do is come over to the gear in the top right, and this will bring up all your settings. Most of it doesn't matter, you can have whatever you want. But here, under graphics, you can see I'm in 1440p and borderless. So you can go full screen if you want. I prefer borderless. It's much easier to tap in and out. Here are the rest of my settings. You can see I have pretty much everything on high. Anti-aliasing is off. Frame rate uncapped. I do have depth of field and motion blur off. I don't like them. And you can see these are here. Alright, so to get RSR to work in borderless, you need to first be in borderless, and you need to set yourself to 1080p before you enable it in the drivers. So we're just going to set ourselves to 1080p, and you can see here the window shrunk. We'll hit yes to this, and this is all shrunk down. We'll just get rid of this, and when we head back here, so you just enable borderless full screen for the game. In the game settings, I'll just leave it at 75 for the sharpening effect. That's a preference thing. Then you go ahead and you close the game. Alright, and we're back in the Hunt menu. So you can see that this is about the size reduction, so I'm just going to pull that in. So this is about what the game will look like with RSR. So you can see it now fits my screen. And I only need to move it in the recording software so that you won't have to do that. And you can see we're in 1080p. If we were to change to 1440p and apply, you can see now it doesn't fit the screen properly. This is why you want to do it in the other way. So we'll go to settings. I'm going to pull this up. We're going to go to display. Display here. That we're actually in 1080p for the display. I'll just close the game out again. I can do this because I have part of it on the other monitor. And now we're going to go ahead, and you can see it snaps back to where it's supposed to be. I need to adjust this though to get it to properly fit. Let's go ahead and pull this back like so. And so I'm going to disable it now. And I have some results from previous testings that I will show off right away here. I did 6 runs, 1 of each map, and I had one with RSR on, which is FSR 1, and one with it off to see what the FPS gains were. Just before we get into the results, here are the specs of the PC I'm currently running this test on. It has a 7900 XTX, a 7950X, an ASRock B650M Riptide. The RAM is DDR5, 4800 megahertz at 64 gigabytes. It's 2 sticks of 32 gigabytes. Then we have a 1 terabyte WD SN850x. That's Western Digital. Time for some results. So here, I was in the saltwater bayou during the day, and I got this twice here. You can see the top one. It has the RSR off, and this is the FPS I got on the app. You can see we've got 183 average with it, and our 95 percentile is 246. Down here we can see our average is 188. And so in this graph you can see the variation from higher and lower delays in the frame times. 97.17%. We were under 2 milliseconds, and then it's pretty similar here for this one too. So basically our average FPS was about 5 difference. It's not really all that much. And to the next map. Alright, and here is Lawson Delta. I was in the map during the day for both of these. On the top you can see we had RSR off, just like before, and RSR on in the bottom. So with these results, we can see there was barely a difference in the average. And that's about it. So we had 182 with RSR on for the FPS, and FPS for average with it off was 186 in Lawson Delta. And you can also see here that the variance was a little bit higher, but it is a little bit more variant in the FPS. It could be really anything in the map or anything else, but regardless, from run to run with RSR on and off, there's barely a difference, just worse visual quality. It was raining in the Decelli map, so keep that in mind. Both results have rain, both raining maps. And finally, Decelli. You can see RSR off and RSR on. We had, so we had 190 average FPS, and you can see the graph here. And then here we had 178 average with it on. And our 1% lows were significantly worse in this map with it on. So my conclusion would be is that RSR probably isn't worth using, at least for me and people with similar systems. If you want more FPS, I would recommend going into this game settings and turning the render resolution down in the game rather than using RSR. So normally the render resolution is at 100%, just set it to 80% and the game will render itself at a lower resolution and you should be good to go. Now, yeah, and then we'll go and look at some clips here right away. And here's the Decelli map. This one, I have RSR on here. It's raining and we're fighting over the butcher. I believe there's a few different squads here, some solos, some duos, maybe a trio. And yeah, you'll see how this one goes. He's all showing up. Here's someone's dead. So, friend should go back for it. water soon. This guy's burnt out already. Nope, that's a third guy from their group. Is dead. Soon I just seen someone there. them to be set off just so I know someone's coming in the door. I don't want them to be positioned like that. I would have probably stepped on it if we didn't place them so passively. As well. It's a pretty good weapon. Thanks for delivering, I guess. He's even in the fire. Killed him 3 times now, he may still have another revive. Alright, I'm gonna set off the traps and leave. If you still have another revive, you'll be able to get out. extraction. Goes through 20 minutes here. So the average FPS was. Of course, this is a different map. It's Deselli in the rain. See what I mean? The bow just isn't great. At least I don't like it.